I think we might just be down to the final four. I'm Mike Fisher. This is the Fishbowl. We are in Frisco, Texas, increasingly chilly Frisco, Texas, home of the Dallas Cowboys. First round of interviews, you know about those 9 guys. That may be the widest net that the Cowboys have ever cast. In Jerry Jones's history, for sure, maybe franchise history, 9 guys. Jerry, of course, over the course of time, he looks at 3 guys he's heard of. Shoddy promised to cast a wide net. He is the point man here, not the owner. And so we go as wide as 9. I think we're about to go as narrow as 4. Get in, get on, be good. Bring something of intellect to the table. It looks like there's a 6 bongs on the wall. Looks like 24 hours now. Marcia's going to pull a name of the winner of the Dak Prescott bobblehead. So you got 24 more hours to go to cowboysroundtable.com and hit the join button and be a part of our fantastic conversation there. We're really building there. You've helped us build here. And now let's do the exact same thing at cowboysroundtable.com. And thank you. So here's what we know. By the way, this program driven by Honda Cars of BMW, by Honda Cars of McKinney, and Hendrick BMW of McKinney. We know that Durante Jones, Vikings pass game coordinator, interviewed for a second time over the course of the weekend. He, by the way, is now also on the radar of the Giants as a defensive coordinator candidate. We'll go pluses and minuses on these 4 guys in a moment. We know number 2, Jonathan Gannon, is scheduled for his second interview. That's Tuesday night. So Durante Jones will have had 2 interviews. Jonathan Gannon by tomorrow night at the Star will have had a second interview. We know that Christian Parker is on the Cowboys' agenda. I think now that's happening Wednesday. Eagles pass game coordinator, defensive backfield coach, interviewed once. He's getting a second interview. And we know that Jim Leonard, the Broncos top assistant, he had the 1 interview, Zoom, and can't have a second one yet. What? Because he's locked in with the Broncos. If the Broncos, when they're eliminated, if they're eliminated on Sunday in their home game without Bo Nix against New England in the AFC Championship game, he'll be free to roll. Otherwise, it'll be the week after that, bye week at the Super Bowl. Let's go plus and minuses on those 4. I think that's the final 4. And I know not everybody agrees. I'm willing to bet, gentleman's bet, this is the 4. Pluses and minuses on these 4 guys. Plus on Durante. He's a Brian Flores protege. Hey, wait a minute. Why are the Cowboys calling Brian Flores? Let's work on the assumption. I'm being nice here. Let's work on the positive assumption. He just had his second interview with the Steelers. He's going to be a head coach. But so Durante Jones, Flores guy. That's the plus. The minus, he's only been a coordinator at a high level briefly. That was at LSU for a year. And then again, I wish you could interview Brian Flores. I'd rather have the teacher than the pupil. How about Jonathan Gannon? Positive. He's been a head coach, and he was a winner as a coordinator that was part of a Super Bowl Eagles team. Minus. One of them is Matt Eberflus is his mentor. The other one is, I don't think you guys like him. Now, I'm not saying the Cowboys should make their determination, but like the public sentiment against Jonathan Gannon is really strong, considering the fact that there's not one person among all the fans who hate Jonathan Gannon who know him. Not one of you. The fervor over the Dak bobblehead, you can see it over my shoulder. You want me to explain why it's so popular? For one thing, there's only like, between the Luka and the Dak, there's only 300 of one of those in the world and only 200 of one of those in the world. So it's a collector's item. That's why. Plus, I'm giving it away. It's a gift from me. Doesn't that count for something? Craig, I'm shocked that people still think a coaching change is going to make a difference. Using that logic, Craig, why'd the Ravens get rid of Harbaugh? What's the point? Why'd the Bills get rid of McDermott? What's the point? Why did the Browns fire Stefanski and the next day the Falcons hired Stefanski? What's the point? You're trying to play. It's, as I've said many times. So Kevin Stefanski's a bad coach. Then why are the Falcons hiring him? McDermott's a bad coach. Then why did he just go to the playoffs 8 straight years? There is no bad. You're just looking for something different, to plug in something different. And that's what the Cowboys are trying to do here. The Cowboys should get better candidates than that. I'm seeing a lot of people say that on social media. Jonathan Gannon got fired. John Harbaugh just got fired. So the fact that he just got fired cannot be a negative credential. That shouldn't count as a negative credential. To Christian Parker, Eagles pass game coordinator, defensive backs coach, interviewed once, second interview coming. The plus, he's learned from some of the best. And he's credited with really helping the careers of young cornerbacks, Patrick Surtain, Quinion Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean among his students. The minus, he's 34. It's a big stage. You ready for the big stage at 34? And then the fourth guy, Jim Leonhard. He had his one. The Cowboys are going to wait, right? Especially because he might be the pinpointed guy. Are you going to lose Durante Jones between now and Saturday? Then I guess you do. And then you pick between the other 3 guys. You're going to lose Parker between now and Saturday while you're waiting for Leonhard? Well, okay, then I guess you better make sure that you get one of the other 3 guys. I think there's 4 finalists. The plus for Leonhard, as we said from the very start, he seems to fit with every single thing that Schottenheimer said he was looking for that day at the press conference. Every single thing that Schottenheimer, this guy checks every box. Teddy, hey, Fish. Hey, Teddy. Busy. Let's go, Fish, at 6. Let's do. While you're here, by the way, Busy, Henry, Vinny, Dave. Let's see you over at cowboysroundtable.com. Go hit the join button over there, would you please? Thank you. The only minus on Leonhard is you have to wait. That's 4 defensive coordinator candidates that are lined up for second interviews. Can there be more? I suppose. Need there be more? 9's a lot. Why not Flores? Because I think he's busy doing the head coaching thing. Why not Jim Schwartz? Same thing. He's had 2 interviews with the Browns. Should you call Sean McDermott? You know my view. I think you should call everybody. But we're going to work on under the assumption that the Cowboys have their reasons here. And there's already buzz that McDermott, that there's teams that are like, oh, shoot, we got to get in on him. So he'll be looking for a head coaching job. And by the way, he's not going to sit out a year. That's not his plan. So I think we're left with a wide net 9, about to be shaved to 4. Now, what does Dak have to do with any of this? This was really an interesting piece at Blogging the Boys by Dan Rogers, who does a fine job. He went through how these coordinator candidates have fared when they go against Dak Prescott. That's a very clever way of looking at it. And here's his findings. Yeah, cowboysroundtable.com will get you there, in case you're wondering. We got the vanity URL. Cowboys Roundtable IO, cowboysroundtable.io will also get you there if you're interested. So, Blogging the Boys did this project. Not counting the Giants game, because Dak, obviously, that was a practice game. Dak had 3 games this year in which he didn't throw a touchdown. Guess who the 3 games were against? Week 1 against the Eagles, coached by Christian Parker. Week 8 against the Broncos, coached by Jim Leonhard. Week 15 against the Vikings, coached by Durante Jones. Really? 3 games all year where Dak didn't throw a touchdown. And those 3 teams have on their staffs 3 of the 4 finalist coaches that we're talking about here. How about, oh, and by the way, they lost all those games. The Cowboys did. How about Dak's worst games in terms of completion percentage? Vikings, Durante. Broncos, Leonhard. Cardinals, Gannon. Eagles, Parker. When Dak had a bad completion percentage game, it was against these 4 candidates. Prescott's 3 worst pass yards games. Right. You guessed it. His 2 worst were Broncos and Eagles, 188 each. Prescott's 3 worst games in terms of quarterback rating. You guessed it. Broncos Leonhard, Eagles Parker, Cardinals Gannon. Diddly diddly dink. Really? Can this just be a coincidence? That the Cowboys have pinpointed 4 candidates who solved Dak and solved this offense. I'm not quite willing to go that far. I have 2 problems with that line of thinking. 1, Jim Leonhard doesn't run the Broncos defense. He's an assistant. Parker doesn't run the Eagles defense. He's an assistant. So if you want the Broncos defense, you have to hire Vance Joseph. If you want the Eagles defense, you have to hire Vic Fangio. Problem B, and this isn't about Dan Rogers' project at Blogging the Boys, which is outstanding. What would stopping Dak have to do with who I hire at defensive coordinator? My defense isn't playing against Dak. So I do think generally you're looking at these guys and going, they stopped a high-powered offense, which just happened to be ours. But it can't be complete coincidence that I believe the Cowboys have narrowed their choice to 4 defensive coordinators, and all 4 of those guys kicked Dallas and Dak's offensive butt in 2026. Top 10 in the morning, Fish Top 10 Takes. We'll have it for you at 8 a.m. breakfast at Fish&E's. And yes, we are 23 and a half hours away from giving away the Dak Prescott bobblehead. And all you have to do to be eligible is go to cowboysroundtable.com and hit the join button, and you'll be in. Sugar, she's got the big barrel ready to roll, and she's going to stick her little petite hand in there and pull out a winner in 23 hours and 47 minutes. So get in, get on, be good, be part of the conversation at the community, and win at cowboysroundtable.com. Fish out.
But we do have some news here on our DC. Now, first of all, the Miami Dolphins have hired themselves a coach. They've hired Jeff Hafley from the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, the Green Bay Packers. Yes. Defensive coordinator. And you know what? They could have eliminated the middleman if they had just kept on to Brian Flores. It's amazing what might have been. Here it is. Now, see, I'm going to say that everybody picked, with the exception of Pat McAfee, picked the U to win this game. I think Indiana, by the way, I'm going to say Indiana I think is going to win. There's no score right now. It's 0-0. But their coach is actually the former coach from the JMU Dukes. That's right. JMU are kingmakers, so to speak. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Jeff Hafley is now the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. We got Kevin Stefanski, who is the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Some people are already having buyer's remorse. And then we have John Harbaugh, head coach of the New York Giants. The thing that's crazy is there were 10 openings. There's not a lot of great candidates out there for head coach. So it will get interesting to see who gets a job. Mike McCarthy's interviewing as well, so there's that. Be that as it may, we have some competition, and this may be bad news for us. Per Jordan Schultz of 23 minutes ago, the Packers will interview Eagles DB coach and passing game coordinator Christian Parker for the vacant DC job after Jeff Hafley took the Dolphins head coaching job. Parker, a rising star in the ranks, flies to Dallas tomorrow to interview with the Cowboys for their DC job on Wednesday, and will head straight to Green Bay afterwards. So, Jerry, if this is your guy, you better jump on it. You better jump on it. Serious. You've got competition. And see, right now, with all these new coaches, they're going to be all scrambling for coordinators and, position coaches. So there's no time to waste. Now, I know that they're really high on Jim Leonard. I keep wanting to say Leonhard. Jim Leonard. But right now, it's going to be at least another week before you can actually talk to him. Now, again, Ben DiNucci, another former JMU Duke, has been signed by the Denver Broncos. Could be he could play. You never know. So we'll see what happens on here. That is, like I said, some bad news for the Cowboys. We are definitely having some competition here for Christian Parker. Another thing that's kind of interesting that's going on right now is last week it was C.J. Stroud's got 3 playoff wins. Dak only has 2. So when you look at C.J. Stroud and his 10 turnovers in 2 games, you can say what you want about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott doesn't have that kind of turnovers in all 7 of the playoff games he's played in. Doesn't. Just doesn't. Okay? So it's crazy because everybody always talks about Dak Prescott. He sucks in the playoffs. Well, so when are we going to take Josh Allen out of the top 3 for his constant playoff shortcomings? Because we always say, here we go. Well, I'm just looking right now. Drake May already has as many playoff wins as Dak Prescott. This shit's crazy. Some players cry, some players blame, some players avoid the media. After the 24 loss to the Packers, Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott stood in front of the media and proclaimed, "I suck." Yeah, that's a grown-ass man taking responsibility. It's a travesty how he gets treated, I don't know that anybody's killing Josh Allen right now, but they should. This stuff is kind of crazy. Like I said, I'm just kind of going through this now. Either Drake May or Jarrett Stidham will have more Super Bowl appearances before. We'll have a Super Bowl appearance for Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, or the Lions franchise. Bo Nix made it to the AFC Champions Conference game before Dak Prescott made the NFC. If you guys don't see, if you guys can't see the difference there, then I guess there's no point in me saying anything. But it is what it is. All right, good people. Right now, well, he's got a cut lip.
It's 0-0 still.
Yep. It's all defense. He got jacked up. Damn. They knocked the snot out of him. Yeah, he got a helmet to the chin. Damn. He's got that should have been a foul. Yeah, so I don't want to hear anybody talking about Josh Allen is elite and Dak Prescott is trash. just don't want to hear it. All righty, good people. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.
Jerry, what do you guys need to do differently to support Brian and to end the 29-year drought that you guys have between going to a Super Bowl?
Well, I think we, you always have to evaluate, where it didn't go right last year. And obviously, we're also evaluating where it didn't go right, in terms of, this drought that people say we're in terms of a championship game or a Super Bowl. And, we just have to continue to make this roster better. It'll certainly be something that Jerry, myself, Will and his staff, and now Coach Shoddy and his staff, will.
Brian Schottenheimer promised the Dallas Cowboys would cast a wide net as they searched for their new defensive coordinator. That was the case as they had multiple virtual interviews with up-and-coming assistants across the league. On Saturday, they moved to the next phase as they started in-person interviews. First up was Daronte Jones, who was the defensive backs coach for the Minnesota Vikings in 2022 and has been their defensive pass game coordinator since 2023. As an understudy to Brian Flores, Jones has been labeled a potential defensive mastermind. Dallas isn't the only team interested in Jones either, with the New York Jets also eyeing him for their open defensive coordinator position. As for his chances with the Cowboys, Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram says he impressed people in the building during his interview. Harris said he was very efficient with his communication, which is a huge point of emphasis for Schottenheimer. Harris said Jones has been the surprise candidate so far. With names such as Jim Leonhard being floated as a potential favorite, it's refreshing to hear that the front office seems to have an open mind in their search. Jerry Jones said the Cowboys would approach this search differently than they have in the past. So far, that's been exactly what they've done. In recent years, Jones has been guilty of zeroing in on a candidate and hasn't cast much of a net at all. His requirements for prior head coaching experience has left them with limited candidates. Once hired, many of those coaches have been too rigid and out of touch to find sustained success. Seeing Jones and Schottenheimer look at younger candidates who are emerging as promising coaches is a breath of fresh air. We don't know if it will work yet, but at least they're trying to find the right person this time. Dalton Knecht has been a massive disappointment in a Los Angeles Lakers uniform. The Tennessee product was selected by the Lakers with the number 17 pick in the 2024 NBA draft and was considered a steal at the time. Game recap: Hornets 135, Lakers 117. However, fast forward to early 2026, and Knecht isn't a part of JJ Redick's regular rotation, prompting many to raise questions about his future with the franchise. In Lake Show Life's Sviatoslav Rovenchuk's opinion, the Lakers should end the failed Knecht experiment after less than 2 seasons via a win-win trade. Knecht Lakers breakup should be a win-win for both sides, Rovenchuk wrote last Friday. There is an inescapable feeling that Knecht will not have the best version of what his career could be in Los Angeles. The Lakers do not have the personnel to cover up his shortcomings. Meanwhile, Knecht is not perfectly cast as an off-ball shooter for the team either. Freeing their former first-round pick should help both sides get what they should really be looking for. The Lakers can kick the tires on a two-way support piece around their stars. The hope for Knecht would be finding a situation that is more readily willing to lean on his strengths as a pro. Knecht entered the 2025-26 season with high expectations after an encouraging rookie campaign. Unfortunately, the 24-year-old's weaknesses have been on full display, as his poor shot selection, inability to move well without the ball, and failure to hold his own as a perimeter defender have plagued him in year 2. The good news for Knecht is that he's only completed 1 full season in the big leagues and should have a somewhat bright future if he can turn his weaknesses into strengths with a different organization. Essentially, moving on from Knecht will allow the Lakers to land an asset better suited for Redick's system in Los Angeles and give the 6'6" wing a chance to start over.